Hi, Dr. Stoll here with SimulEYE. I want to talk to you today about our Phaco model and talking about the setup to make it really easy for you guys. So here's our base tray. Anytime we're running fluidics like phaco, anterior vitrectomy, posterior vitrectomy, we need to have the tray to help catch any fluid that's coming out. And then we have our elevated base that helps support the eye and also allows positioning different places for optimal hand placement. And then of course we have the phaco eye. And like all of them, it has the suction cup base to stabilize the eye and allow for movement. And to prep the eye, all we have to do is fill it with water, and that's very easy. So we get some bottled water because there are no particulates and it's room temperature is what we want, so it doesn't have condensation. And we'll use an empty bottle like a BSS bottle, and we'll just unscrew the eye here. Ideally, you'll pinch up here to unscrew the eye, and then take your bottle and fill the back with water. And then from there, we're just going to press on the cornea a little bit, and that helps displace the air from the anterior chamber and bring water into the AC. And then we can carefully, if you need to add a little water, you can. And then we can carefully screw the suction cup back in. You'll lose a few drops of water during that process, that's normal. And when we go to tighten it down, that's where you want to pinch up here and then squeeze it and tighten it down. If you don't have complete fill up here, that's okay. That's going to be taken care of by your phaco. And then we position the eye in place there. The next thing that residents may want to do is mark their incisions. So we recommend just a Sharpie, and they can mark their main incision and where they'll put their side port. Just makes it easier to see afterwards. And then we want to coat the eye with our surface coating gel. This helps improve the view and helps reduce bubbles from coming into the AC. So it gives us a better seal. And you really want to coat the whole cornea and over the limbus where your incisions are going to be. Get a nice coating on there. It's a very dispersive viscoelastic, and within about 5 seconds it settles and you have a great view. And now we'll make our incisions through that. So side port, fill with viscoelastic, displace the water, main incision, and then we can go to work on the eye. So that's the setup: base tray, elevated base, prepping the eye with water, marking the incisions while the eye is dry, putting the viscoelastic, the surface coating gel over the top, and then making the incisions through that, and you're ready to go. Okay, so now that the eye has been prepped for phaco, let's talk a little bit about the eye itself and how to kind of use it best. With this lens that we released, we call this our Phaco Soft model, and it really does act like more of a soft lens. So we want to kind of treat it as such, meaning it's not going to be used for like a quick chop with vertical chop right from the beginning. So, after you make your incisions, you can hydrodissect. However, you're not necessarily going to see the fluid wave, and you don't really want to try to rotate the lens at this point. I know we all say don't begin before you spin, but in this case, it's going to be difficult to rotate that lens because it is soft. So gentle hydrodissection, more just for the exercise of doing it, and then go to work with grooving. With this lens material, it does a very good job with sculpting. It's a little bit challenging to crack because it's soft. The instruments push into it. It does a very good job with horizontal chop. You're not going to really do too much vertical chopping with it. And then it does a great job with segment removal. So grooving, nice long deep groove, and get your instruments in there to crack that lens. When you do your first trough, you can use 2 instruments to spin the lens. That process of kind of getting a nice deep long groove, the fluidics running in the eye, that's going to help create the hydrodissection for you to spin that lens more easily. And if you have 2 instruments, your phaco tip and your second instrument, you should be able to rotate that lens, finish your grooving. Once you get a good groove all the way along, you can split it into your heminucleuses. And then at that point, you can go to work with horizontal chop, and you can really disassemble the nucleus. When you get those pieces, then you can switch over to your segment removal and get those pieces to come up. And that's where you can also really work with your settings, different modes that you'll be working with, see the followability, see the fluidics work, different modes, pulse, burst, whatever system you're working with. Start to learn those settings and dial them in and really see in real time what's happening at the phaco tip with the lens particles. That's really the advantage of this model. So I hope those are helpful tips to get your educational experience on phaco going. Thank you. Okay, so now I just wanted to go into a little bit more detail on some of the tips to help make the user experience a bit better. So let's talk about our base tray, again, to capture fluidics. We do have non-slip feet on the back. to help it stabilize on the table. But it's important, you'll see the way that they're positioned, it's important to have it facing the surgeon with the writing towards the surgeon. Otherwise, if it's facing the wrong way, it'll be very rocky and unstable. So we want to make sure we have it positioned this way towards the surgeon. Next is our elevated base, also has non-slip feet. And again, this provides a nice smooth surface to attach the eye to. When you attach the eye, we don't want to press on the cornea, just press on the equator here and attach the eye, and then we have that built-in eye movement. To release the eye, just pull on this release tab. So if you try to pull the eye off, that's going to be very difficult. Anytime you need to reposition, just grab or touch the release tab and the eye comes off. And when the eye is securely on there, we can position these feet around the grooves in the tray, and that way allows us to adjust for hand position. So to optimize it where you want. You want to make sure you have a good stable hand positioning, whether you're more comfortable here or placing it over here, wherever works best for the surgeon. A couple tips on filling the eye we talked about before. You want to pinch here to unscrew and to tighten down. And when we use the water to fill the eye, again, bottled water, room temperature. Bottled water doesn't have particulates floating around in it, and room temperature, so we don't get condensation on the cornea. So you can just take an empty BSS bottle and squeeze and fill the water up into the BSS bottle, and then use that to fill the eye. And then finally, again, just to touch on the marking, if you want to mark the eye, do that before we put the surface coating gel on while the eye is nice and clean and dry. Just make little reference dots so it's easier to find the incisions. And then we're going to use the surface coating gel, and we're really going to cover the eye, the cornea, all the way past the limbus. And in about 5 seconds, it's very dispersive, so that gel is going to settle down. It's going to improve the view into the cornea, into the eye, and it's going to really help seal the incisions. So we're going to make our incisions through that gel. It's best if you don't make your incisions and then put the gel on. Put the gel on, make your incisions through it, and we're all set. So that's all there is for now. I hope that helps. Thank you.